Now on Coast TV News.
Seeking warm shelter. With no relief from Arctic conditions, we look at the strain it is putting on resources for the homeless.
It's another morning of single-digit wind chills. We are going to struggle to get out of the 20s today, tracking sub-zero wind chills in the mornings ahead, and the latest on our coastal storm threat over the weekend.
Plus, school sports standards. The hearing taking place in the Delaware State Senate that could define the teams that students can play for.
And fast growth focus.
I think the county is short-sighted in its ability to approve the developments.
The plans coming out of a Sussex County workshop that tackle the land use issue.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And we are looking at the scene in Sussex County just a few hours ago. This is Milton, and as you can see, the streets and sidewalks are still covered in ice and snow that could make walking and driving conditions dangerous. Another Arctic-type day. That's how we start Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for being up with us during our 5 o'clock hour.
And most of the snow that was pushed to the side by plows and shovels, it's basically rock-hard ice right now.
It doesn't make for very safe driving, walking conditions, as you mentioned. Also, it's no fun to build a snowman.
Or have a snowball fight. I was looking forward to packing one and maybe throwing it at.
Obviously. And did you?
No.
No. Oh. Well, maybe you and Chris at some point can have a nice
ice ball fight. That would be great.
Sounds like an HR department meeting waiting to happen.
All right, you mentioned Chris. Let's bring in First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. He's in the Weather Center. Icy conditions, Chris.
Oh, yes. Good morning, Matt and Grace. So we're in that cycle where we have ice in the morning. We get a little melting in the afternoon, and then it refreezes at night, and we wake up to a lot of icy conditions, especially across those sidewalks. Right now, we are holding at 18 degrees in Salisbury. We're at 19 Indian River Inlet, 17 in Milford. But once again, we're seeing wind chills in the single digits. It feels like 7 in Lewis. It feels like 8 in Salisbury, and it feels like 8 in Milford. Now, we are seeing clear skies across the area. We're in for another pleasant day as far as precipitation concerns. They're going to be very dry, sunny skies to start. We'll have a few high clouds that'll roll in through the afternoon, but overall temperatures are going to be struggling to get out of the 20s this afternoon. Highs right around 26, with the wind chill making it feel more like anywhere between 12 and 18 degrees during the warmest part of the day. Now, we are tracking even colder mornings ahead. Sub-zero wind chills are expected tomorrow morning and Friday. All eyes on the weekend. I'll have the latest on a coastal storm threat here in a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. And as we just heard, temperatures outside, they're brutal. They can especially be dangerous for the homeless.
Our Lisa Weber is in the newsroom. Lisa, Code Purple shelters are back to normal operations after the storm, and it's times like these when Code Purple is in the most demand.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. I'm actually looking at my phone right now. It says it's 17 degrees outside. The real field temperature, though, is 8 degrees. So being outside for just a few minutes is painful, and being outside for long periods of time can be especially dangerous. So it's times like these we really do need to think of the homeless. And Code Purple shelters do provide that emergency shelter at nighttime for people who are experiencing a lack of shelter during these cold temperatures. And we went and spoke with Code Purple at the Cape, and they told us that they are back to their normal operations after the weekend storm. They said that during the weekend storm, with those driving restrictions that were in place, Code Purple could not operate at its normal locations because volunteers were not able to drive. But the Delaware Secretary of Housing gave funds to Code Purple directors to put guests in hotels for the weekend. Volunteers are necessary for Code Purple to operate each night, and the organization says they are always in need of help. And each Code Purple shelter is able to hold 14 people, and they say right now they are looking for another religious organization to host a shelter, as they say they really need another place for men to go. And at this time, Code Purple says there is a waiting list for their shelters. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa. The Department of Health and Social Services is opening warming centers starting today through January 30th, and they will run from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. In Sussex County, it's at the Shipley State Service Center, Adams State Service Center, and the Laurel State Service Center. Kent County, William State Service Center, and Smyrna State Service Center. And if you're up in Newcastle County, These are at the Canby Park office, Claymont State Service Center, and Churchman's Corporate Center.
For people in Maryland, the Wacomico Civic Center is open for people looking to get out of the cold. Officials say the facility will be available from 8 a.m. this morning until 4 p.m. And a number of school districts will continue their changes due to the snow and extremely cold temperatures. Many schools will return to classes under a 2-hour delay. Some of those schools including Woodbridge School District, Cape and Lopin School District, Indian River School District, Seaford School District, and Wacomico County Public Schools. However, Milford and Laurel schools are still closed. Milford students will continue their asynchronous work, while the Laurel School District says it's a remote learning day. And for a full list, pay attention to the bottom of your screen, or you can head to the article on our website, CoastTV.com.
Actually, some colleges across Delaware are returning to classes. Delaware State University says normal operations resuming today, along with in-person classes. The Stanton, Dover, and Georgetown campuses at Delaware Technical Community College will also have normal hours. The Wilmington campus is still closed.
This just in, a new bill is being introduced in the Delaware General Assembly that aims to decrease the state's spending for fiscal year 2026. House Bill 282 would cut spending by 1% to account for what it says are possible budget shortfalls. This comes as Governor Meyer and the director of the Office of Management and Budget are set to hold a briefing today on budget details.
Also happening today, a hearing scheduled for a potential change to Delaware's Fairness in Girls Sports Act. Senate Bill 215 would require schools to designate their athletic teams as either boys or girls, and this builds on the act that requires athletes to play for teams that correspond to their biological sex. According to state leaders, the Education Committee will review the proposed changes when it meets today at 1:30 p.m.
New this morning, Maryland Governor Wes Moore has announced the Lower Bills and Local Power Act. It's a new proposal he says is aimed at cutting utility costs while modernizing the state's energy grid. State leaders say the plan includes $100 million in new utility bill rebates expected to roll out this fall. The proposed bill would invest $70 million to support clean energy projects across the state.
And this comes as Delmarva Power is now asking regulators to raise electric rates. The utility wants nearly $68 million more in base rates and a higher monthly customer charge. According to Delmarva Power, the increase will help pay for infrastructure upgrades designed to reduce outages during storms, and if approved, interim rates could take effect next summer.
Sussex County is the fastest growing county in Delaware, and with all that development, county leaders are looking at how to grow responsibly. On Tuesday, they held a workshop to talk about how to do just that. Some ideas thrown around include limiting neighborhood sprawl and focusing on higher density housing. That ties in with the affordable housing, another talking point for the county. Another recommendation included preserving open space and forests, as well as improving local infrastructure, something people we spoke with say they hope is a top priority.
I think the county is short-sighted in its ability to approve the developments because there's just not enough support systems for them. And support systems goes from fire departments, police departments, and everything else.
Sussex County has not made any final decisions on those recommendations. County leaders say they still need to be turned into ordinances and go before the council and the public. Officials are expecting multiple ordinances to be drafted in the coming months.
Growth on the coast, we know it is a big issue. We have growing pains because everyone wants to live here, but it comes at a cost. Roads, infrastructure development, loss of open space, all of that creates conflict and concerns.
And CoastTV News has investigated all of those deep-seated issues that brought us to where we are today. On February 4th at 7 p.m., join us for a 1-hour special to help you understand the price of paradise growth on the coast. We have crazy video to show you here now of a British Airways flight that lost its tire after taking off from Las Vegas to London on Monday night. Harry Reid International Airport confirmed the incident, saying that the flight continued to London and landed safely without further incident. Officials reported a tire was retrieved from the airfield.
New overnight, President Trump says he wants to see a full investigation into the shooting death of Alex Preddy by Border Patrol agents in Minneapolis.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us more on that and a concerning scene when a man rushed a Minnesota congresswoman at a town hall.
and DHS Secretary.
In a new sign of the boiling tensions in Minneapolis, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar confronted at a town hall overnight by a man who tried to spray her with something before being dragged out and arrested.
We're going to keep talking.
Omar, a frequent target of criticism from President Trump, including last night, hours before the incident.
We're letting some great people come in. They have to show that they can love our country. They have to be proud. Not like Ilhan Omar.
Omar has pushed back before, saying she has an unwavering love for America. Right before the confrontation, she called for the resignation of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, part of a growing chorus from both sides of the aisle in the wake of 2 deadly shootings in Minneapolis by federal law enforcement in 3 weeks.
I've lost confidence in her. I had great hopes for her in the department, and I've been disappointed.
President Trump standing by Noem.
I think she's doing a very good job. The border is totally secure.
That as the president backed a full investigation into 37-year-old ICU nurse Alex Preddy's fatal shooting, while asked if he agreed with some of his administration officials casting Preddy as a domestic terrorist in the early stages.
I haven't heard that, but certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun.
Local officials say Preddy was legally carrying his gun, and new details from a preliminary internal Customs and Border Protection review NBC News obtained note that in the struggle, 2 officers fired their weapons 5 seconds after an agent yelled that Preddy had a gun, and that one of the agents then said he had Preddy's gun after the shots were fired. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Happening today, City Council is once again taking up the ordinance that regulates in-home businesses. According to the agenda for this morning's meeting, the council will discuss proposed framework and regulations for those types of businesses in the city. It was several years ago that an at-home dog grooming business started this review. The City Council meeting is in just a few hours at 10 a.m.
New this morning, the Delaware Division of Motor Vehicles changing its operating hours. Starting Monday, February 2nd, DMV locations will close to the public 30 minutes earlier each day. Officials say the change is meant to allow staff time for end-of-day processing and required procedures. Under the new schedule, DMV offices will open 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
We're just getting started here on this hour of CoastTV News Today.
Coming up, snowplow problem. DelDOT says you can get reimbursed if you hire a plow service outside of the agency.
And dangerous dog rescue, how the family pet found itself underwater.
And new fire truck, what features are included to an upcoming addition to the fleet in Lewis.
The cold weather we're seeing is only going to be intensifying here over the days ahead. A pleasant good Wednesday morning, Delmarva, as we take a live look into Ocean City. 22 degrees there, but look at these wind chills. Feels like 9 in Ocean City, 7 in Lewis, and it feels like 9 in Cambridge. Wind gusts 20 in Cambridge. We're gusting to 19 in Salisbury out of the northwest. Plenty of sunshine to start the day. We'll see a few clouds roll in through the afternoon, but overall a really nice day as far as the sky and precipitation is concerned. But look at the temperatures, only getting into the mid-20s from Lewis to Dewey. Ocean City 25, feeling more like the teens throughout the day. We'll talk about sub-zero wind chills entering the picture tomorrow morning, and the latest on a coastal storm threat over the weekend.
New this morning, got some pictures here of the final inspection for the Lewis Fire Department's new ladder truck. The department says the truck features a 100-foot rear mount ladder, space for a 6-person crew, and a number of compartments for tools and equipment. Fire officials spent 2 days in Florida checking the truck's build quality, followed by driving an operational test. The ladder truck will now receive lettering and tool mounting before making its way to Lewis.
The National Retail Federation expects Americans will spend $29 billion this Valentine's Day. That's a record amount. According to the annual survey, shoppers are budgeting nearly $200 for gifts. Candy remains the most popular Valentine's Day gift. That's followed by flowers, cards, a night out, and some jewelry, Matt.
Yeah, I got one for you, Grace. A lot of social media requests for this return. McDonald's bringing back the popular changeables Happy Meal from the 1980s. Customers can get the Happy Meal that includes toys that are a lot like Transformers. The toys look like menu items, but can be turned into other figures like dinosaurs or robots. And this time around, there are 16 updated versions of changeables to choose from.
That's a good idea. Maybe go get yourself a Happy Meal if you're struggling with this cold weather. We're experiencing nearly 20 degrees below average. Look at the record, 71, right? We're going to see sunrise at 7:10, but it's going to feel like the teens throughout the day. Fortunately, the cold's going to get worse in the days ahead. I'll have all the latest after the break.
Time is 5:19, and we are giving you a live look of those small waves rolling onto the beach there in Ocean City. And Chris, we're going to have another sunny day today, but it's really not going to help much with the temperatures.
No, we are dreaming about those warm days on the beach today. We're only going to have highs in the mid-20s, but with the wind chill, we're going to feel more like the teens. Frigid start in Salisbury, 18 degrees there, but it feels more like the single digits. And you can see temperatures are generally in the teens throughout the entire area, but it feels like 8 Salisbury, 9 Dagsboro. It feels like 6 in Rehoboth and 7 in Milford. Those cold weather advisories continue for all of Delaware through 10 a.m. Thursday. Wind chills tonight falling as low as -5 to -8 across some parts of the peninsula. And we also have the cold weather advisory for our southern counties, Dorchester, Wicomico, Worcester through 10 a.m. with those wind chills as low as 0. We have high pressure building right over the peninsula. We'll see a few high clouds stroll in through the afternoon, but overall we expect just bone cold, dry conditions here over the next few days. And you can see the Arctic air, well, the cold air making its way all the way down to the Gulf. They're down to 40 in Tampa, 18 here in Georgetown. You can see single digits back off to the west. Well, the record stretch of days of at freezing or below was 12, and that was set back in February 20th of 1979. This current streak, don't expect temperatures to get above the freezing mark until at the earliest Monday, and this is going to be our longest streak since 2017-2018. Mostly sunny skies, again, a few high clouds rolling in through the afternoon. We'll top out around 26 in Georgetown, and there's those high clouds rolling through this afternoon, and then back to another frigid start for Thursday. We'll do it all over again. Mostly sunny skies Thursday, even colder with highs in the low 20s across much of the area, and that bitterly cold air holds strong into Friday with temperatures struggling to get out of the low 20s for daytime highs. There's those wind chills in the single digits. By tomorrow morning, feeling like -2 in Long Neck, -4 in Milton. By Friday morning, still feeling like sub-zero, -3 in Lewis, -4 in Georgetown, and we keep that bitter air in play through Saturday. Now, as we go into the weekend, there's been rumblings of a potential coastal storm. We are tracking that threat. There's going to be an area of low pressure that develops off the southeast coast. How close does it track to the Delmarva Peninsula will be the question as to how much snow we get. The best chance of seeing snow would be right along the immediate coast. There's going to be a wind element to this storm, which we did not have with the last storm, so coastal flooding is going to be an issue that we're going to have to keep a close eye on, and the snow will exit by Sunday, late Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon, and then we're looking at cold, dry weather to continue into the early part of next week. So we're keeping an eye on that snow threat late Saturday afternoon through Saturday night, lingering into Sunday morning, and then as we welcome in the month of February, we're looking at temperatures finally getting above that freezing mark. Grace.
Thank you, Chris, and be sure to download the CoastTV app for your phone and tablet. We've been using it for special coverage of last weekend's storm, and we will again this weekend. But also, we have all of our news always on this. In case you didn't know, you can also get CoastTV streaming apps for your TV with devices like Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
We still see lots of pups enjoying the snow and ice this week, and I guess eating some too. These two dog owners took their 4 Goldens for a walk on the boardwalk in Rehoboth Beach, which led them to a swim.
The reason we're on the boardwalk instead of the beach is because they go swimming even when it's like this, and they come out with icicles dangling all over them. Yeah, and then it's hard to get the sand out and everything in the cold weather when we get home. We have to take them in the indoor shower.
Yeah. Perhaps you're getting ready for the polar bear plunge on Sunday. I don't know if I'd be swimming in the ocean, Grace.
Matt, I'm sure you could do it. If you were joined by the golden retrievers, close enough.
Maybe.
Well, a happy ending after a rather scary start for a dog on the eastern shore. Crews rescued a beagle-hound mix after it wandered onto ice in an Accomack County creek and fell into the water. A rescuer in cold water suit used an inflatable raft to reach the pup and pull it to safety. The dog was treated for mild hypothermia and some sore paws, and best of all, is now back at home with its family.
Up next on Coast TV News today, snowplow problem, the reimbursements offered by Delaware in regards to snow removal. We are back after this on Coast TV News today.
DelDOT is reminding people that the agency does not plow private neighborhoods, only state roads. And according to the agency, it could be up to 4 days before neighborhoods see plows. However, DelDOT says it reimburses civic associations for snow removal from private contractors who are able to plow sooner.
Another way to get reimbursed by DelDOT for those on both private and public property, if you had a mailbox or property damaged during the snow removal, contact the insurance coverage office at the number we are showing you on your screen or this email. DelDOT says to include pictures, date, time, and location in the email.
Dreaming of 80-degree days on the beach in Ocean City, right? Well, old man winter has its grip on the peninsula this morning. 21 degrees in Ocean City, and we're going to have plenty of sunshine through the morning. Few clouds roll in through the afternoon. Highs are going to struggle to get out of the mid-20s from Ocean City, Fenwick Island, right up the coast in through Lewis and Rehoboth. Feeling like the teens throughout the day with that added wind gust to 20 miles an hour. Cambridge, clear skies to start, and a few clouds rolling in briefly through the late afternoon, early evening hours as we hold in those mid-20s across the peninsula. Congratulations, Maureen Gallagher of Bethany Beach, Delaware, on winning an umbrella from Coast TV. And you can always give our Coast TV First Alert weather phone a call for your latest forecast. I'll have details on that coastal storm threat this weekend here in the next half hour.
After the break on Coast TV News today, proposed change to hunting opportunities, what Delaware lawmakers are considering.
Also, sports changes, what potential rules Delaware lawmakers are reviewing today at Legislative Hall.
Plus, intense cold at Code Purple, how the organization is continuing to help those in need during a time when it's needed most. Coast TV News today continues after the break.
Now on Coast TV News.
It's another morning of single-digit wind chills. We are going to struggle to get out of the 20s today, tracking sub-zero wind chills in the mornings ahead, and the latest on our coastal storm threat over the weekend.
Plus, Arctic conditions assistance, the effort underway to offer help and protection for those dealing with homelessness.
Senate Sports Showdown. The latest in the controversy involving the biological sex of athletes and the hearing taking place today in the Delaware State Senate.
And weekend hunting window, the changes in Delaware that are part of new legislation.
This is Coast TV News Today.
It is January 28th, 2026. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Matt. Thank you for joining us.
5:31 a.m. Is it spring yet, Grace?
Actually, Matt Pensick, there are 51 days
I saw you looking that one up.
The official day of spring, which feels really far away at this point, especially with these frigid temperatures that we have. I know you're yearning for that day, Matt Pensick.
You know, again, I am season appropriate, but that's why I don't like this time of the year. I do like First Alert meteorologist Chris Masterbono.
Who doesn't?
I know. I wonder if he missed me. He's in the Weather Center. Chris, I'm back. You're back. We're all here together on a cold Wednesday.
I'm glad you're back, Matt. I know you tried to get us a win last night, but you did your best. As we take a live look into Ocean City, we are seeing, well, cold conditions. The beat goes on, right? 21 degrees there. Look at the dew point 1. That's an indicator of the moisture in the atmosphere, bone dry across the area. We're holding at 18 degrees in Millsboro, 15 in Harrington. But more importantly, look at these wind chills. It feels like 7 in Bethany Beach, 6 in Rehoboth, and it feels like 8 in Redden. Temperatures are going to be only getting into the mid-20s today under mainly clear skies. We'll have a few high clouds that'll roll in to the area through the afternoon, but high pressure is really going to be our friend here. Arctic high pressure, mind you, over the next 3 days. We stay dry and just very cold through the afternoon, topping out in the mid-20s, feeling like 17 to 19 during the warmest part of the day. So these bitter wind chills are going to be with us over the next few mornings. Sub-zero wind chills by Thursday and Friday morning. And then all eyes are on a coastal storm threat over the weekend. I'll have the latest thinking on that system coming up my full 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Chris. And we're looking at the scene, Sussex County, just a few hours ago. This is in the Milton area. And as you can see, like a lot of areas on Delmarva, the streets and sidewalks covered in ice and snow that could make walking and driving dangerous.
And as Chris just mentioned, those temperatures outside are brutal, and they could be especially dangerous for the homeless.
Yeah, CoastTV's Elisa Weber is in the newsroom. Code Purple shelters back to normal operations after the storm, and it's times like these when Code Purple is in the most demand. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. I'm looking at the temperature on my phone for Milton. It says it's 17 degrees outside, but it feels like 9 degrees. So even just being outside for a few minutes is painful. Imagine having to sleep outside and having no break from the cold. Well, Code Purple at the Cape provides emergency nighttime shelter for people experiencing homeless until March 15th. Code Purple says it is back to its normal operations after the weekend storm. Code Purple says that due to driving restrictions over the weekend, volunteers were not able to come and volunteer at the site, so Code Purple had to be moved. The Delaware Secretary of Housing gave funds to Code Purple directors to put guests in hotels for the weekend. Code Purple coordinates with local churches and volunteers to provide warm meals, blankets, and a safe place to sleep. Volunteers are necessary for Code Purple to operate each night, and the organization says they are always in need of help. Code Purple at the Cape says there is a waiting list to get in, and they are searching for another location to open.
We would actually like to open a second men's shelter. We think the demand is there for a second men's shelter, and we're continuing to look for another faith community within the Lewis and Rehoboth Beach area that might be interested in entertaining another shelter.
While Code Purple does not accept blanket and sheet donations, they do accept clothing, winter clothing like jackets, hats, scarves, and gloves. So you're more than welcome to donate anytime. And they also say that financial donations will help them get through the rest of the season. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa. The Department of Health and Social Services is opening warming centers starting today through January 30th. They will run from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Sussex County at the Shipley State Service Center, Adams State Service Center, and Laurel State Service Center, in Kent County at the Williams State Service Center and Smyrna State Service Center, and in Newcastle County at the Canby Park Office, Claymont State Service Center, and Churchman's Corporate Center.
A number of school districts will continue changes due to the snow and extremely cold temperatures. Many schools will return to classes under a 2-hour delay. Some of those include Woodbridge School District, Cape Henlopen, Indian River, Seaford, and Wicomico County Public Schools. However, Milford and Laurel schools are still closed. Milford students will continue asynchronous work, while the Laurel School District says it is a remote learning day. Tragedy in Texas. 3 brothers ages 6, 8, and 9 have died after falling through the ice on a private pond north of Dallas. That's according to state officials there.
Reed Binion showing us that and dozens of storm and cold-related injuries that have been reported across several states.
I tried to pick one up, put them on the ice. It would just break and keep falling in.
Tragedy in Texas. 3 brothers ages 6, 8, and 9 dead after falling through the ice on a private pond north of Dallas. Dozens of storm and cold-related deaths have been reported across several states. Meanwhile, the frigid blast continues to wreak havoc on the roads, many still slick with ice. Air travel also impacted, with flight cancellations rising sharply Tuesday. Travel disruptions also extended to the waterways. In New York City, ferry service was suspended due to ice conditions, a disruption likely to last several days. Electrical outages also lingering. According to tracking website poweroutage.us, more than 500,000 electric customers were still in the dark as of Tuesday afternoon. Amid the fallout, there were also many brave rescues, including one in the Washington, D.C. area.
How are we going to get them out?
Where crews saved a young boy from a storm drain.
We looked at trying to physically remove the grate. That was also frozen solid. When the kid came out of the hole, he was smiling and laughing.
It's a great feeling for everyone.
The Arctic blast will likely be followed by even more severe weather, with forecasters predicting what they call a bomb cyclone off the East Coast this weekend. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Happening today, a hearing is scheduled for potential change to Delaware's Fairness in Girls Sports Act. Senate Bill 215 would require schools to designate their athletic teams as either boys or girls. This builds on the act that requires athletes to play for teams that correspond to their biological sex. According to state leaders, the Education Committee will review the proposed changes when it meets today at 1:30 p.m.
Sussex County, it's the fastest growing county in Delaware. With all that development, officials are looking at how to grow responsibly. Some proposed ideas include limiting neighborhood sprawl and focusing on higher density housing. That ties in with affordable housing. That's another talking point for the county. Other recommendations include preserving open space and forests as well as improving local infrastructure. We're expecting to see multiple ordinances drafted about this in the coming months.
Members of Delaware's General Assembly are looking at a proposal to increase hunting opportunities. House Bill 278 clarifies that Sunday hunting is permitted for all game animals and game birds. It simplifies the caliber of handgun ammunition permitted for deer hunting. This act removes European and snowshoe hares as game animals, while including skunks and weasels as game animals. The bill is now getting reviewed in the Natural Resource and Energy Committee.
New this morning, Maryland Governor Wes Moore announcing the Lower Bills and Local Power Act. A new proposal, he says, is aimed at cutting utility costs while modernizing the state's energy grid. State leaders say the plan includes $100 million in new utility bill rebates expected to roll out this fall. The proposed bill would invest $70 million to support clean energy projects across the state.
And there were some chaotic moments during a town hall meeting held by Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar on Tuesday in Minneapolis.
All right, well, we're going to move on here, and we have a lot more news to get to in this edition of Coast TV News Today. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, energy bill assistance, how one organization is helping Wacomico County families.
Also, Salisbury basketball back in action after the snowstorm. We're previewing the Seagulls doubleheader tonight.
Plus, blood donors needed. Why the blood bank of Delmarva says donations right now are crucial. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
We salute Jason Karras. From 1995 Junior Firefighter of the Year to a retired Air Force Senior Master Sergeant, Jason is the definition of a hero. While deploying multiple times to defend our country, he remained a devoted pillar of his community. Today, Jason serves as a vital firefighter and EMT for both the Harrington and Felton Fire Departments. With 30 years of unwavering service in the skies and on the streets, Jason has spent his entire life answering the call to protect others.
Spicer Brothers and Coast TV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a Coast TV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
Hope this Wednesday morning is treating you well. Delmarva, another day of bitterly cold temperatures, especially stepping out the door this morning, being greeted by single-digit wind chills. It's 18 in Salisbury, feels like 6. Feels like 6 in Cambridge and 7 in Bethany Beach. We're going to wake up to plenty of sunshine through the afternoon, and through the afternoon we'll see a few high clouds roll in, but another very cold day as we only get into the mid-20s, feeling like 17 to 18 during the warmest part of the day. So keep in mind, especially as we get into the core of this cold with sub-zero wind chills, avoid prolonged exposure to the cold, dress in multiple layers, cover any exposed skin, especially if you're outdoors for a prolonged period of time. Never use your stove or your gas range to heat your home, and yes, drink plenty of warm beverages, and of course protect those pets. I'll have the latest on a coastal storm threat in my full 7-day forecast.
Happening today, it is the final day of the blood bank of Delmarva's biggest blood drive of the year. The 27th annual Ocean City Blood Drive continues. It comes at an important time. January is National Blood Donor Month, signifying the time of the year when donating is most needed. To donate, you could head to the Roland E. Powell Convention Center today from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
New this morning, the Salisbury Zoo invited the community to learn more about the work it does during a public forum. Organizers say the meeting will focus on education and conservation efforts, along with the animals at the zoo and the work that it does to care for them. It's taking place tonight at 6 p.m. at Parkside High School.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
With the roads mostly cleared out, all of the sporting events that were postponed are circling back around again. That includes a doubleheader of Salisbury basketball versus Mary Washington. The men's game starts at 5 o'clock tonight, and the Seagulls really have their work cut out for them. The Eagles are ranked top 10 in the country and boast a 16-1 record. The history between these two teams is where the real story lies, though. SC was 25-31 all-time against Mary Washington, but that record used to be 25-21. The Gulls have lost 10 in a row to the Eagles. We'll see if that changes tonight. At 7 o'clock, it's the same matchup on the women's side. This one should be pretty even. Both teams have hovered around 500 all season. Going back to last year, Mary Washington won 2 of the 3 clashes, but all of those games were decided by 10 points or fewer. Salisbury is used to these close ones, by the way. The Seagulls have played 2 straight overtime games with 1 win and 1 loss. That'll do it for sports. Have a nice day, folks.
And coming up tonight on DSN at 6, Salisbury School faces Eastern Shore Homeschool Mavericks, and then you can catch the final score at 10:30 p.m. You can watch that game that we just mentioned on DSN Plus along with these exclusives. We have a couple of high school wrestling matches for you, both at 5. Decatur taking on Mardella, and Del Mar hosts Lake Forest.
And the Super Bowl is more than a week away. I know 2 gentlemen in the studio right now who are pretty excited to watch, but we're getting glimpses of this year's entertainment, not the halftime show, but the commercials. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
Touching hand, touching cheese, touching you, sweet sandwich time.
Andy Samberg channels Neil Diamond, turning a diner into a concert hall in the new Super Bowl ad for Hellmann's Mayonnaise. Making her big game commercial debut, self-proclaimed Mayo superfan Elle Fanning.
I'll be seeing you very soon. Not if I see you first.
The top 2 Oscar contenders will also do battle at the BAFTAs. One battle after another leads this year's BAFTA Film Awards nominations with 14, followed closely by Sinners with 13 nominations. The 79th British Academy Film Awards take place February 22nd in London.
I know it feels like it's the end of the world, but it's not. I saw the end of the world. I had a ringside seat for it.
A Holocaust survivor who's never told his story connects with an alienated teenager in The Optimist. Stephen Lang from Avatar and Elsie Fisher from 8th Grade star in the drama. The first trailer just dropped. The Optimist, based on a true story, opens in theaters March 11th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, maybe you're tired of all this ice and snow, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for free at coasttv.com/sign-up to get a weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
Well, make sure you have your favorite warm beverage handy this morning and throughout the day. We're only going to get up into the mid-20s, feeling more like, well, 12 to 18 degrees through the afternoon, and it gets even colder as we go into Thursday and Friday, and then we'll talk about some potential snow over the weekend. Latest forecast is up next.
And the time's now 5:50 a.m. as we're taking a live look out into an icy Salisbury. Chris, looks like the roads are clear in this camera view we have right now. But it's just an icy and cold week we're having.
Yeah, just nasty, right? You know, it's sunny, but not really that warm. And we're in that cycle where we get a little melting of the snow during the day, and then it refreezes at night, and you wake up to a sheet of ice stepping out the door in the morning. And also, you get bitter wind chills on top of that. 18 right now in Salisbury. It's 16 in Milton, 19 in Bethany Beach. When you factor in the wind, it feels like 6 in Rehoboth, 6 in Harrington, 8 in Gumboro, and that's why that cold weather advisory remains in effect. This runs through Thursday morning for all of Delaware, northern portions of the midshore for wind chill values as low as -8. Then we have that cold weather advisory for Dorchester, Wicomico, and Worcester County through early this morning. So we have high pressure building over the area, and really Arctic high pressure is going to be our friend here for the next few days. We're going to stay relatively dry, at least through the start of the weekend, and you can see that Arctic air, well, it's encompassing much of the eastern half of the country. They're down to 51 in Miami, so that's pretty chilly for those folks down there. 26 through the afternoon through the midshore and the inland areas. We stay dry, just a few high clouds rolling through during the afternoon. We stay clear through the overnight into Thursday. Another bitter cold start. Temperatures falling in the single digits and teens. By tomorrow afternoon, we're sunny, but we are very cold. Highs only in the low 20s. And then Friday morning, and we do it all over again. Look at these wind chills as we go into tomorrow morning. Feeling like -1 in Rehoboth. It's still below 0 wind chills as we go into Friday morning. Feeling as low as -5 in Ellendale. And then we keep that bitterly cold air in play through Saturday. Now, as we go into the weekend, you see precipitation chances ramp up, and that is snow as we go into Saturday through Sunday. Watching an area of low pressure, it's going to be developing off the southeast coast. An actual actual powerful area of low pressure. In fact, we're going to have a lot of wind at the coast regardless of how much snow we see. But the closer this area of low pressure tracks to the coast, the more snow. The further away it tracks, the less snow. Right now, we're kind of in between with what the models are showing, expecting some snow especially along the beaches from Lewis all the way down through Assateague and Chincoteague, all the way down to the Carolinas, in fact. And then that snow will then come to an end by midday Sunday. And then we're looking at cold, dry conditions as we start next week. So we're keeping a close eye on the snow through the weekend. See temperatures holding in the 20s as we go into Saturday afternoon through Saturday night into early Sunday morning. That's what the time frame would be. And then we finally creep above that freezing mark as we go into the early part of next week.
Thank you, Chris. And be sure to download the CoastTV app for your phone and your tablet. We used it last weekend for the special storm coverage, and we'll use it again this weekend. But as always, all of our news is on this. And also, in case you didn't know, you can get CoastTV streaming apps for your TV with devices like Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Cold temperatures mean heaters are continually running across Delmarva, and that can mean some higher energy bills. The organization Shore Up in Wacomico County says the demand for help is already climbing as more people reach out for energy assistance. Client outreach increased 50% this week due to the low temperatures.
Fuel prices, energy prices have gone through the roof, and again, I've heard people say that their light bills have almost, in some cases, doubled or tripled things that they've been accustomed to paying before.
And according to Bowen, Shore Up can help with electricity, gas, or fuel oil, but he says people shouldn't wait until it becomes a crisis. The sooner people apply, the sooner staff can process their case and avoid a shutoff. And the time's now 5:54 a.m. Matt Pensick, it is time to check in with our very brave coastal pet of the day.
Yeah, today's coastal pet of the day is a happy boy. On your screen, that is Samson. Samson was a trooper at a recent rabies clinic and was all smiles, and as you can see on his way home. Samson is very loved by his family, the McDonoughs from Lewis, who sent us this great-looking picture.
All power to Samson. We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. You can send us photos, tell us what makes them so special if you take a look at your screen now.
There's that QR code top center. Scan that to get your friend to us, and then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature. Let's bring back First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. And Chris, more of the same when we're talking about these Arctic conditions this week.
Yeah, the beat goes on. Single-digit wind chills greeting us out the door this morning. It feels like 7 in Bethany, 6 Salisbury, 6 in Cambridge, only getting up to 26 degrees this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, 23 for a high on Thursday. Challenging some cold highs on Friday, 21 after beginning Thursday and Friday below 0. And then we're watching the threat of a coastal storm that could bring snow to the coast, as well as the threat of wind and some coastal flooding, and then we finally get above the freezing mark into early next week.
Thanks, Chris. And coming up in our next hour, battling bitter cold, we look at the increased demand for homeless shelters during this extreme cold stretch of weather. That and more when Coast TV News Today continues.